How do I become the first millionaire in my family? Okay, well, how do you become?
Okay. First of all, that's a giant question. How do I become the first millionaire in my family? The fact that you've put the context of in my family in there means that you come from a cycle of, I'm not going to say poverty, but you come from a cycle of non-abundance or non-wealth. And so that in and of itself is something that you have to divorce yourself from first in order to become a millionaire, because the one thing that all millionaires have in common is that they have this abundance mentality. It's almost like you can tell, even when somebody's not yet a millionaire, you could tell that they're going to be one day, just because they come from this mindset that the world is at their fingertips, that, you know, there's an ocean of money out there, and the ocean does not care whether you approach it with just a spoon to get some money out, or whether you approach it with a freaking bucket, or whether you approach it with a dump truck ready to get all that water out. The ocean doesn't care. And that abundance mentality is what a lot of these millionaires have. Let's see what Ali has to say about it.
How do you have a net worth of over $1 million? There's a way I like to think about this, which is that if you want to make, let's say, $1 million, you have to add more than $1 million to other people's lives. Because the only way...
This is huge, okay? And this is something that not enough people talk about. It's actually one of the core tenets of being an employee at our company, at Vibix, which is that you have to over deliver what you're worth. In other words, you know, like if your salary is 100 grand and you want it to stay at 100 grand, you can't only be delivering 100 grand of value. In order to stay at 100 grand, you probably have to be delivering like 160, 170 grand of value, because it costs more than your 100 grand of salary to even keep you on board as an employee. And so you have to be constantly delivering more than what you're worth. And then in addition to that, if you want a raise, if you want 200 grand, you definitely can't be at 170 grand of value. You need to be delivering 300 grand of value in order to make 200 grand, and so on and so forth. And so this applies to entrepreneurs too. If you want to make $1 million, you have to have delivered probably like $3 million in value to somebody, so that out of that value that you've delivered, maybe you can keep $1 million as profit. And that's being like very, very liberal with the numbers there. In reality, if you want to be a millionaire, you want to be left over with $1 million, you probably need to be generating like 10 million in revenue, so that maybe you could take home 10% for yourself without touching it.